Tonight, the horizon holds something waiting for you. The breath of dusk lingers longer than it should, as if the air itself is aware that the moon will rise not just as an object, but as an omen. You feel it before you see it, a tug beneath your ribs, a hush that moves through the trees without touching a leaf. The stars blink slowly awake, hesitant, because they know this night belongs to one dot. It is called the strawberry moon, not for its color, though sometimes it wears a soft blush, but for its time, the season when wild fruit ripens, when the earth sighs in early summer heat. Ancient farmers named it for the moment they could harvest sweetness from tangled fields. Astronomers name it simply the full moon of June, a perigee full moon if you are lucky, when it sits close and large in the sky. But you call it something else. You call it the mirror of longing, the keeper of secrets that taste like honey, an egg. So before we go further, before you step barefoot onto the grass, let the moonlight touch your skin. Breathe in. This channel, this sanctuary beneath stars, waits with you. If the moon has ever whispered to you, if you have ever felt something stir when looking up at the night, then let this moment anchor you. Whisper back, and if you feel something stir in your bones tonight, leave a sign below, a comment, a symbol, a word. Subscribe, not to a channel, but to a rhythm that predates electricity and even fire. The rhythm of lunar breath. Touch the bell and let it toll not as an alarm, but as a ritual, a reminder that each month, the moon calls your name. Above you, the lunar disk begins its slow ascent. Unlike winter moons that cut cold through the dark and rise high, this one hangs low. That's not magic, it's astronomy. The sun rides highest in the northern hemisphere this time of year, so the full moon, its opposite in the sky, traces the lowest arc. It skims the tree line. It lingers, immense and golden. A phenomenon known as the moon illusion makes it seem larger than life when close to the horizon. Your eyes deceive you, or perhaps they show you something truer, not what the moon is, but what it means, because tonight isn't about light. It's about shadow, and yearning, and ritual. What do you do during a strawberry moon? You remember, you reflect. You gather your scattered pieces and place them under a sky that has seen everything. War, love, rebirth, silence. Look up now. That glow. It's not just reflected sunlight. It's time, old time, time woven with myth and biology. Lunar light is colder than fire, but it burns all the same. Not flesh, but memory. You might find yourself thinking of someone you used to know. You might feel tears for reasons that have no name. The ancients believed full moons pulled not just tides, but emotions. They weren't wrong. Psychiatric studies still debate it. Oceanographers confirm it. Poets always knew. Tonight, some call it honeymoon, the old term for the days after marriage, when love is sweet and sun-drunk. Others name it rose moon or hot moon, but beneath every name lies a secret. The moon is watching who you become when all else fades, when the world sleeps, and only silver remains. In Japan, Shinto practices place offerings beneath the full moon, rice, sake, paper wishes. In Druidic traditions, the midsummer moon is a time for opening inner doors, for invoking transformation in your own life. Even if you never knew why, you've always felt it. June's full moon feels different, softer, but somehow deeper. You find yourself walking slower, listening more, dreaming with the windows open. That's not coincidence. It's the moon pulling at the tide inside you. And so, we begin. You stand at the threshold, between light and memory, between science and myth. Behind you, the clock. In front of you, the cosmos, dressed in strawberry skin. The world is not asleep. It is only quiet, watching to see if you will look up or look away. Now. Let us begin tonight's story. You lift your gaze again, and this time the moon is fully formed, no longer creeping up the sky like a secret, but standing there boldly, unapologetically present. It is low, wide, impossibly round like a coin, placed on the edge of the world. The light it gives is not harsh, not like the sterile glow of artificial things. This light feels aged, filtered through centuries, tempered like metal soaked in stories. It touches the tops of trees with liquid silver and lays shadows across the fields that stretch and breathe as if alive. Astronomers have long documented this illusion, the moon illusion, they call it, a trick of perception that makes the moon appear larger when it hovers near the horizon. It is not physically closer, in this moment. But your mind, your instincts, something primitive within you insists that it is. Perhaps this is because your ancestors once watched the same moon rise above wild terrain, fearing predators in the dark. A low moon meant visibility, meant hope, meant survival. And even now, in your bones, that instinct stirs. The wide moon calms you and calls you simultaneously. But there is another truth behind the illusion. In June, the full moon rises along the path of the ecliptic that hugs the Earth's horizon, a low, shallow angle, unlike the high arcs of winter moons. It rides close to the Earth for most of the night, never soaring high, never retreating. It stays near, like a presence that refuses to leave your side. And this nearness, this intimacy of light, creates a different kind of night, a night that watches you as much as you watch it. Tonight, you walk not just on Earth, but in orbit, part of the cosmic alignment that places the sun, Earth, and moon in perfect harmony. You are living the geometry of the heavens, whether you know it or not. In this alignment, you are the middle note in a three-part chord, sun behind, moon before, you in the quiet center. It is balance, it is tension, it is poetry written in shadow and spin. Long before calculations and telescopes, humans read the sky not with tools, but with feeling. They saw the strawberry moon as the full throat of the year, the time when spring's promises ripen into summer's truths. In the old world, this moon marked a season of gathering, herbs, fruit, lovers, strength. The Anglo-Saxons called it the mead moon, a time to ferment the sweetness of early harvest into drink. The Cree called it the hatching moon, the Lakota, moon of making fat. Each name is a window into a culture, a climate, a rhythm of survival braided with hope. And now, in your modern stillness, you feel something ancient stir inside you. It's not about nostalgia, it's about cellular memory. The memory of sleeping under open skies, of knowing the moon not as a distant satellite, but as a companion. You no longer see a rock suspended in orbit. You see a presence that changes the way you move, feel. Remember, the strawberry moon does not shine like the others. It glows with thickness, with saturation, as if the sky had steeped in wildflowers and dusk. Somewhere across the world, a child is seeing their first moon rise and doesn't know what to call the lump in their throat. Somewhere else, a farmer pauses with dirt on their hands and thinks of someone they miss. All across the earth, this same disk is rising, and yet, each of us sees it differently. For some, it's beauty. For others, a reminder. For a few, a wound. The moon does not judge, it only reveals. This moon, so low and wide, stretches shadows until they speak. It calls your attention back to the earth, to the body, to what is grounded, yet reaching. You may find yourself more aware of your own shape in the dark, of the breath that moves you. The wide moon creates space, physical space, emotional space. In that space, truths whisper. Let yourself sit with the immensity of it. You do not need to understand the equations behind the moon's rising. It rises anyway. What matters tonight is not how it got here, but what you do while it watches. This is a moment suspended in both science and spirit. When your vision stretches, your feelings expand, and time seems to slow its breathing. Stay in the quiet. Let your pulse slow. Let your gaze remain upward a little longer. The moon will rise, and it will set, with or without you. But if you mark it, truly, mark it, you might just find the world feels different tomorrow. Not because the moon changed, but because you did. You close your eyes for just a moment, and when you open them, the moon is there as if it has always been. No sound, no announcement, just presence, silent and immense. You watch it, and in the watching, you begin to understand why humans have never been able to look away. Across centuries and continents, every culture, every tongue, every trembling heart has looked up and whispered a name for it. Not just moon, but their moon, a moon of stories, a moon of harvest, a moon of longing, loss, and return? This strawberry moon, was named by the Algonquin people, the ones who walked the forests of what is now the northeastern United States. For them, the moon marked the short, sweet season when wild strawberries ripened beneath green leaves. It was not just a name, but a reminder, a signal from the sky to begin gathering, to be present, to act before sweetness faded. That, you realize, is the first lesson of this moon. Nothing ripe lasts forever. But it wasn't only the Algonquin who saw this moon and gave it meaning. In Europe, medieval almanacs referred to it as the mead moon, tied to the making of honey wine, a time of both fermentation and celebration. In China, June's full moon is often associated with love poetry and the subtle sadness of distance. In Andean traditions, it marks the descent toward winter in the southern hemisphere, where the moon becomes a guide for reflection and preparation. Every language carries a different word. Every word carries a world. You begin to see how the moon is not just a shared sky object, but a cultural mirror. Every name etched into its glow carries the imprint of survival, rhythm, ceremony. The moon became a calendar before we carved numbers into stone. Full moons were timekeepers. They told people when to plant, when to hunt, when to love, when to mourn. The moon did not simply orbit, it called, and it still does. Tonight, the moon calls you by an older name, not the one given to you at birth, but the one you almost forgot, the name that lives in silence, in breath, in memory. You feel it not in your ears, but in your skin, in your dreams. The language of the moon is not spoken. It is known. Somewhere in Eastern Europe, a folktale unfolds. A man waits beneath a strawberry moon to see if the spirit of his beloved will return, as promised, on Midsummer's Eve. In the cold highlands of Scotland, a maiden whispers her wish into a stone bowl filled with water, watching the moon's reflection shimmer, waiting for a sign. In the South Pacific, a navigator sets sail by moonlight, charting paths not just across waves, but across lineage and legacy. You realize you are part of a chain, a long, human line of moon watchers, moon namers, moon dreamers. The telescope was a late invention. The naming was first. When you say strawberry moon, you are not just describing a phase. You are invoking a season, a sweetness, a yearning. And the moon listens. It has always listened. Tonight, it asks, you, what will you name it? Not with the title from the internet, not with what others have called it, but with the name that only you know. The name that comes from what it stirs in you. Maybe it's the moon of quiet courage. Maybe it's the moon I missed. Maybe it's the one that reminded me I'm still here. Whatever name you give it, it will remember, because this is not just a lunar event. It's a moment of reflection, not in mirrors, but in myths. The strawberry moon is ripe with memory. It carries all the names ever spoken beneath its light. Some are gone, some remain. Yours waits to be added. As you stand in that hush between night and myth, you begin to feel the shift. The sky doesn't move quickly, but something inside you does. The stories of others are not separate from you. They're woven into the lunar glow like invisible threads. And suddenly, you are no longer just a watcher. You are a participant. You are part of the myth now. The moon rises, and with it, the past. Not in sorrow, but in illumination. Not to haunt, but to guide. As you breathe in this old, fragrant night, you understand, every time someone names the moon, they are also naming what they long for. And you, too, have something to name. Asterisk. You shift your gaze. not from the moon, but from the mystery to the mechanism. For all its poetry, the moon is also a body-obeying law, gravitational law, orbital law, the silent geometry that holds it in rhythm with the earth and sun. Tonight's wide and low-hanging moon, glowing with that soft midsummer hue, owes its position not to magic, but to a precise and elegant tilt, the 23.5-degree angle of the Earth's axis. This subtle lean, barely more than a nod, determines the rise and fall of light across the seasons, across the sky, across your face. You begin to understand. The Earth doesn't stand upright. It leans like a listener, and because of that the moon doesn't rise the same way every month. In June, during the Northern Hemisphere's summer solstice period, the sun travels its highest arc across the sky. Its counterpart, the full moon, always appears in the opposite part of the sky. So, when the sun is high, the full moon rides low. That's what you're seeing now. That's why this moon lingers near the treetops, hugging the horizon, like a memory reluctant to fade. This contrast of solar and lunar paths is not just aesthetic, it's ancestral. Early astronomers, watching with naked eyes, noticed these patterns and built monuments to honor them. Think of Stonehenge, aligned with solstice light. Think of the Chaco Canyon sun dagger in New Mexico. These were not coincidences. They were acknowledgments. The ancients watched the sky not to predict the weather, but to understand themselves. And now, so do you. You start to feel the deeper metaphor in the Earth's tilt. The idea that a slight angle, an imperfection, gives birth to rhythm, warmth, and time itself. Without this tilt, there would be no seasons, no solstice, no strawberry moon. The Earth would simply spin, static in temperature, barren in variation. Life as you know it would not exist, all because of a lean dot. So perhaps this tilt, this divine imbalance, is a lesson that harmony does not mean symmetry, that perfection is not what keeps things alive. It is the tilt, the wobble, the uneven spin that creates beauty. You, too, are not upright. You, too, lean, and in that leaning, you find the seasons of your own becoming. The moon tonight mirrors that truth. Its path, lower and broader, offers more time to watch, to wonder. It's not a brief climb to zenith, it's a slow, wide journey through the night. In astronomical terms, the moon is tracing a shallow trajectory across the sky, but in emotional terms, it is lingering, as if it, too, wants more time. Cultures attuned to these patterns created rituals around this specific motion. In early Japanese moon viewing traditions, tsukimi, the lower the moon rode, the more intimate the ceremony. People would sit by water or under thatched roofs, drinking sake and writing poetry, waiting for the moon's reflection to ripple in the surface below. The moon wasn't just above them, it was within reach. And that changed everything. You begin to sense how the physical tilt of the Earth maps onto your inner world. Just as the planet leans, so do your emotions, pulled by gravity, shaped by invisible forces. You are not centered, you are not still, but you are balanced, in motion. A tilt does not mean you are falling. It means you are alive. The strawberry moon reminds you that the sky is not flat. It's dynamic, full of slant and curvature and movement. The heavens do not march in straight lines. Neither do you. The more you learn about this alignment, the more you feel your place in it. The moon is not rising by accident. It is exactly where it should be, because so are the angles. So is the light, so are you. And just as the moon's position is shaped by Earth's orientation, so too are your own moods, your days, your rituals shaped by forces just slightly out of sight. You are in orbit around your own truths, tugged by memory, spun by love, pulled by things you cannot name, and yet, somehow, you stay on the path. Tonight, as you watch that low arc across the horizon, let the lesson of the tilt settle into your bones. You don't have to be upright to be in alignment. You don't have to be still to be steady. Sometimes, the very thing that feels like imbalance is the thing that lets you bloom. The moon continues its slow journey, brightening the undersides of clouds, brushing the tops of distant roofs. It knows the curve, it knows the way, and now, so do you. You step softly through the quiet, carrying a bowl of water in your hands. There is no sound but the hum of insects and the occasional whisper of grass brushing against itself in the wind. You are guided not by tradition alone, but by instinct, some old, buried knowledge that rises to the surface only when the moon is full. You don't remember when you learned this, but your body moves as though it's done it 100 times. The placement of the bowl on the earth, the stillness of your breath, the angle of your gaze. You look down, and there it is, the moon, whole and luminous, captured in the water like a secret. This is an old ritual, older than scripture, older than nation, older than even spoken language. Water and moonlight, together, they have always held meaning. In the ancient world, water was not just for drinking or cleansing. It was a medium of truth, reflective, receptive, sacred, and under a full moon, still water becomes a mirror to something more than just your face. It reveals the contours of your thoughts, the shapes of things unsaid, the longings you haven't named. Astronomically, the full moon reflects sunlight back to Earth in the most complete and direct way. Its light is not its own. It borrows from the sun, softened and scattered by the lunar surface. And water, being a perfect receptor, holds that light with grace. You are witnessing pure reflected reflection, the sun to the moon to the water. To your eyes, a celestial lineage of light. Nothing is emitted, everything is received. And in receiving, it becomes radiant. Cultures across time have performed variations of this ritual. In Vedic tradition, water placed beneath the moon was believed to absorb subtle energies. It was known as soma, both a drink and a deity, a lunar elixir of calm and consciousness. In West African and Caribbean spiritual paths, moon water was created during full moons for blessings, healing, and ancestral communication. The Celts used sacred wells and springs, believing them to be lunar portals where truths could rise like breath from the deep. And here you are, participating, not reenacting, participating. Your presence is not a performance, it is part of the rhythm. You kneel closer, and the bowl becomes more than just a container. It becomes a threshold. The moon ripples slightly in its surface, and something inside you ripples, too. You remember a face, a promise, a fear. You feel an ache in your chest that is not pain, but potential. This is what reflection does. It doesn't flatter. It reveals. You begin to understand that the ritual is not in the water itself, but in the attention. The act of pausing, of aligning intention with observation. You don't need incantations, or ropes, or old scripts. You only need presence. The water doesn't need to be purified, because the moment you offer your full awareness, it becomes sacred. The moon does not need worship. It only needs witness. You take a slow breath and lean forward. Your reflection merges with the moon's. You are there, not above it, not beneath it, but beside it. The moon in the water blurs slightly, and you feel your identity dissolve, not in confusion, but in expansion. You are no longer just a person looking up. You are part of the cycle, part of the tide, part of the story. Emotion rises, not loud, not dramatic, gentle, like mist over the surface. You realize that reflection is a form of release. The water holds what you give it. The moon witnesses without judgment. You offer a thought, a sorrow, a hope. You don't say it out loud. You just think it, quietly, and let it pass into the bowl. It is heard. That is enough. This simple act, a bowl of water, a beam of light, becomes a ceremony. You begin to see why the ancients turned to the moon, not only for timekeeping, but for soul-keeping. The strawberry moon, with its sweetness and stillness, asks you not to act, but to attend, to bear witness to your own becoming. You realize that every ritual is a mirror, not of gods, but of the self. The water glows faintly now, not with magic, but with meaning. The light refracts around the rim. You sit back and let your thoughts settle. like sediment, to the bottom. There is no need to stir them. You have seen what you needed to see. You have felt what needed to be felt. Later, you might pour this water at the roots of a plant, or keep it by your bedside, or return it to the earth with a whispered thank you. There is no single correct way, only the way that feels aligned. Ritual is not about rules. It is about relationship between you and the sky, you and the ground, you and the you that watches from within. The moon continues to rise slowly, steadily. The bowl cools in your hands, and in your chest, something opens, not a door, but a window, just wide enough for the moonlight to slip through and leave behind the shape of something you almost forgot. Asterisk, you press your fingers to your lips and taste a memory, something sweet, wild, and slightly sun-warmed, a strawberry, not the perfectly shaped ones from the supermarket, but the kind that grows low in the grass, hiding beneath its own leaves, blushing in secrecy. The kind you have to bend for, the kind you have to notice. In this moment, under the wide and watchful gaze of the strawberry moon, you remember why this full moon bears its name. Not because it looks like a strawberry, it rarely does, but because it rises when they do. The Algonquin people gave it this name first, aligning the sky's rhythm with the land's. When the June moon rose large and low, it meant the brief strawberry season had begun. These berries didn't last long. They were a gift of days, not weeks, and so, the moon became a signal, not just of time, but of opportunity. You had to act, you had to gather, you had to taste the moment before it passed. Astronomically, this moon is ordinary, the full moon closest to the summer solstice. No eclipse, no rare orbit, and yet, it always feels different. Perhaps because it mirrors what the strawberry teaches, that sweetness is fleeting, that the earth bleeds color and sugar only for those willing to bend down and see. The fruit itself is a symbol. In ancient Roman lore, Venus, goddess of love, wept when Adonis died, and where her tears touched the earth, strawberries grew. In Christian iconography, the strawberry sometimes represents purity and righteousness, the red fruit with white blossoms. In medieval gardens, it was a symbol of both sensual pleasure and fleeting innocence. The duality of the strawberry is not a flaw, it is the point, beauty and decay, sweetness and stain, life that must be tasted before it spoils. You begin to see how the moon and the fruit are woven together, not just seasonally, but symbolically. The strawberry moon invites you to reflect on what in your life is ripe, what is ready, what must be harvested not in labor, but in attention. It asks, what sweetness have you overlooked? What softness hides beneath your daily speed? You think of someone you've neglected, a joy you've postponed, a part of yourself you keep saying you'll return to. The fruit is not eternal, neither is the moon in this phase. But both return, not identically, but rhythmically. The moon cycles, the berries bloom, the heart remembers. That is the gift and the ache of seasonality, the knowledge that everything you love will disappear, and return, and disappear again. Not to punish you, to teach you how to see. There's a deeper symbolism, too, in the color. That vivid red, the blood of the earth, is not accidental. The strawberry grows without demand. It spreads itself, roots trailing, blooming wherever the soil allows, and yet it is fragile. Overripe in days, crushed under careless feet. To eat a strawberry is to make a quiet agreement with nature. I see what you offer, and I will not waste it. Under the strawberry moon, you are reminded of all that is offered to you. Moments, people, tenderness, and how often you walk past it in pursuit of something shinier, longer lasting, more certain. But certainty is not the nature of things. Ripe is, fleeting is. Now is. In Slavic traditions, lovers would meet beneath the June moon and offer each other strawberries, symbols of passion and the promise to savor each other, here and now, without guarantee of seasons to come. In some Japanese moon rituals, Fruit was laid out as an offering not to be eaten, but to be recognized, revered, a kind of edible prayer. Tonight, you pick a single berry and hold it up to the moon. Its skin glistens. Its seeds, tiny golden dots, catch the lunar light. And you realize, this is not just food. It is a symbol of gratitude, of permission, to feel joy, to remember sweetness, to bend down and taste the earth again. You take a bite. It is soft, a little tart, and gone too fast. And that is perfect. The moonlight does not linger all night. Neither does the flavor, but both leave behind something more lasting, the memory of fullness, the echo of presence. You place the stem down gently on the earth, not as trash, but as tribute, a circle completed. The fruit came from the soil, was bathed in moonlight, and now returns. As you will. As everything does. And somewhere in the quiet of this moment, you feel a part of yourself soften. A barrier, once held tight, gives a little, not broken, just loosened, the way the earth softens when rain comes, the way a strawberry gives in your fingers, the way the moon lets go of the night, even as it lights your way. The air is warm, holding the scent of cut grass and the faint trace of something floral, like jasmine or memory. You are not alone, though no one else is near. The strawberry moon has drawn others here, not in body, perhaps, but in echo. Somewhere, beyond your sight, in another field, another year, a pair of lovers waits. They always do. This moon is their rendezvous. And tonight, they are closer than ever. You remember a story. You don't know where you first heard it. Perhaps it came, in a dream, or from the lips of someone who once looked at you with the same quiet devotion. It's a tale from somewhere in the Slavic lands, or perhaps from the Celtic Isles, or maybe it lives in both, a convergence of myth, like rivers meeting beneath the moon. In the story, two lovers are separated by fate, forbidden by clan or war or silence, but every year, when the June full moon rises, they are allowed one night beneath the wide, honeyed sky, to find each other again. They wait in opposite fields, listening for the call of night birds, the hush of the wind, the subtle alignment of stars. When the moon is at its highest, they walk, barefoot, quiet, drawn not by maps, but by rhythm, by something in the blood that hears the moon's signal and answers. And when they find each other, nothing is said. The words would be too small. Instead, they press foreheads, breathe the same air, and let the moon witness the reunion. A ritual not of possession, but of presence. You feel them now, not the story, but the essence. A longing within you wakes. Perhaps it is for someone. Perhaps it is for some version of yourself you once loved and lost. The moon has a way of pulling such feelings out from where they hide. It doesn't demand clarity. It only invites you to feel fully, and under this moon, love feels inevitable. Astronomically, the strawberry moon often appears larger and warmer hued due to its position near the horizon, intensified by the scattering of shorter light wavelengths. This illusion gives the moon a swollen, romantic presence, not sharp like winter moons, but soft-edged, golden, fertile. You understand why lovers chose this night to meet. The moon itself seems to blush. The sky seems to hold its breath. The world offers permission. In many ancient cultures, the June full moon marked a time of fertility rituals. The Romans held Vestalia during this period, a festival honoring the hearth and the sacred fire of home. In Germanic lands, it was a season of hand fastings, temporary or lifelong unions sealed under moonlight and witnessed by stars. In West African traditions, the full moon was a time to call ancestors into the circle of union, asking for blessing, strength, and memory. You begin to sense how love, under the strawberry moon, isn't always about passion. Sometimes it's about remembrance. Sometimes it's about waiting. Sometimes it's about the quiet courage of showing up, year after year, with an open heart. Tonight, you think of someone. Maybe they are near. Maybe they are gone. Maybe they are yet to arrive. it doesn't matter. What matters is the signal, the moon's signal, that something in you is ready. Ready to receive, to reconnect, to remember, or to forgive. You feel the grass cool beneath your feet. You hear the hush of night creatures settling. And in the moonlight, you see not just your own shadow, but another, faint beside it. Not a ghost, not an illusion, a presence, a possibility. The moon has long been a symbol of reunion, not just between people, but between parts of the self that have grown distant. Tonight, those pieces draw closer. You sit. You breathe. You do not rush. The lovers in the field never do. They know the moon will stay a while, long enough for what must be felt to be felt. You may not speak. You may not even move. But something within you will come into alignment, like stars that seemed scattered until the moonlight made a constellation of them. The lovers will part again at dawn. Always do. That is their vow. One night, each year, to remember everything. But they do not leave sad. They leave full, and so will you. You don't need forever. You need now. You need the moon, this field, and the quiet knowing that love, in all its forms, always finds its way back when the time is ripe. You lean back. Let the sky hold you. Let the moon speak. And if someone meets you here, in memory or in person, say nothing. Just breathe. Let the silence be your vow. The moon shines, whole and unbroken, and yet, you feel it, a quiet darkness beneath the glow. It isn't in the sky, and it isn't in the earth. It's somewhere in between, a hush that settles behind your ribs, a pause that echoes even as the light streams through the trees. You realize that every illumination casts a shadow. Even the strawberry moon, generous in its light, carries something hidden in its heart. You have heard of apogee and perigee, the moon's dance of distance. But tonight is not about proximity. It is about presence and paradox. The moon is full, and yet its fullness reveals what's missing. This is not contradiction. This is truth, because the brighter the moon glows, the more your own darkness steps forward to meet it. The strawberry moon invites you to reflect, yes, but not only on sweetness, also on sorrow, also on what you've buried. Scientifically, the moon's light is reflection, a surface bouncing sunlight back to Earth with no illumination of its own. That's the miracle, that borrowed glow enough to light forests, fields, the contours of your face. And yet, because the moon is not a perfect sphere, because its surface is uneven with craters and ancient scars, shadows always ripple across its surface, subtle valleys within the light. The full moon is not flawless. It is textured, marked, alive with past impacts. You, too, carry these marks. Tonight, you don't need to hide them. You stand under a sky that understands what it means to be beautiful and bruised. The full moon has seen grief as often as it has seen joy. It has hung over battlefields and births. It has watched lovers embrace and strangers pass without noticing one another. It doesn't judge. It simply reveals. In Tibetan Buddhist practice, full moons are often considered potent times for both clarity and cleansing. Not because everything is perfect, but because everything is visible, and visibility is a kind of grace. In traditional Jewish mysticism, the moon represents the soul in exile, a shining presence that reflects something divine, yet mourns its separation from the source. And in the stories of many African tribes, the moon was once whole and close, but distanced itself after witnessing violence on earth, returning now only to watch and weep. These stories are not just fables, they are reflections, cultural mirrors of our own contradictions. You begin to understand that the strawberry moon is not just about ripeness. It is also about reckoning. What have you delayed feeling? What sweetness have you chased to avoid? The shadow beneath. Tonight, there is nowhere to run. And that is the gift. You feel a memory stir, not a loud one, a soft one. A moment you thought you had forgotten, but which now stretches awake in the moonlight. Perhaps a goodbye, perhaps something left unsaid. The moon does not drag it forward, It simply creates the stillness in which it can rise. You do not have to solve anything tonight. You only have to witness. This shadow is not a flaw. It is the shape of your wholeness. Without it, you would be flat. Without it, you would not know depth. The strawberry moon reminds you, illumination and mystery can exist in the same sky. You are not here to choose one or the other. You are here to hold both. You sit with it, the ache, the softness, the strange beauty of feeling everything at once. And, as you do, the moon climbs higher. Its angle shifts, its shadows lengthen slightly. Across its cratered plains, you see now that these marks, Tycho, Copernicus, Mare Imbrium, are not imperfections. They are memory made visible, proof that even the most luminous bodies carry wounds. You are no different. And that's not something to fix. It's something to honor. Tonight, beneath this rare and sacred moon, you do not need to shine. You only need to be present, to allow your inner terrain to be lit, shadowed, seen. The moon is not asking you to be perfect, it's asking you to be real, to stand in your fullness and in your flaw, and know that both belong to you. Somewhere, an owl cries, a breeze rustles the edges of a nearby tree. You exhale, not relief, not release, just recognition. You are still here, marked, glowing, watching and being watched. And in the quiet, the moon whispers back, I see all of you, not despite the shadow, because of it. You look up again, and something shifts. The moon has not changed, but the sky around it pulses differently now. A subtle halo, a faint shimmer, a distortion you can't explain, but cannot ignore. It's as though the sky is breathing. You squint, and the edges of the moon seem to bend slightly, trembling in place like heat on pavement. You're witnessing something few ever notice. The sky's breath, caught in the strange science of light and air. Atmospheric optics. That's the name for it. The delicate dance between light and the layers of our air. Tonight, the strawberry moon rides low on the horizon, and in doing so, its light passes through more of Earth's atmosphere than during any other time in its cycle. The air, thick with heat, dust, moisture, refracts and bends the moonlight, stretching it, warping it, filtering it through invisible rivers of temperature. This is why it sometimes appears golden, or tinged with rose. This is why it swells and sighs like a heart to fool to stay quiet. You are not hallucinating. The moon is not larger, but your mind is. The moon illusion returns, now joined by mirage, by distortion, by light scattered and reassembled through 1,000 tiny movements of the air. The earth breathes, and the sky responds. You watch the result, not just light, but story, projected on the dome of night. This distortion is not a flaw. It is a reminder. Perception is not always truth, but it is always real. You see the moon, not as it is, but as it comes to you, through air that is never still, through a lens shaped by warmth, humidity, the invisible tide of summer's breath. You realize now how little control you have over what enters your eyes. And yet, the experience is yours entirely. Ancient sky watchers saw this too, and they didn't call it science. They called it omen. In Chinese lore, a halo around the moon was a signal of change, rain, fortune, or revelation. In Andean cosmology, distortions in moonlight were messages from the abyss, the mountain spirits, reminders that all things pass through filters, cultural, emotional, elemental, before they arrive in our hearts. You blink slowly, and the shimmer shifts again. A thin veil of cirrus clouds drifts past the moon, bending the light further, as if the heavens themselves were painting with breath. You feel small in the best way. Not insignificant, but part of something wider. You're not watching the moon alone. You're watching it through the breath of the planet. And then, a thought rises. How much of what you believe is shaped by the invisible air between you and the truth? How often do you misjudge the size of a thing, the meaning of a word, the intention behind a silence, simply because your view is filtered, not distorted in a malicious way, just bent by context? by emotion, by weather. You are not being lied to. You are being invited to see deeper. The strawberry moon does not hide its distortion. It makes art of it. It lets the sky soften its edges, lets the colors blend, lets the truth wear a different face. And still, it rises. That is a kind of trust. Tonight, you take that lesson gently. You realize you don't need certainty to feel connection. You don't need hard edges to find meaning. You can let things shimmer, let them breathe, let them arrive imperfectly, and still be beautiful. You lie back now, the earth, warm beneath your shoulder blades, and watch as the moon pulses slightly, shifting behind the veil of rising heat. You imagine your breath joining that invisible current, mixing with the breeze, curling into the folds of the atmosphere. You are part of the distortion now, and maybe that's exactly where you belong. You don't always have to see clearly. You only have to stay present, to notice the shimmer, to feel the breath of the sky and know. This too is part of the ritual. A star blinks beside the moon, wavers, then steadies, and in that flicker, you find peace. Not because everything is in focus, but because everything is moving, alive, and seen. Even if it bends, the light still arrives. And so do you. You reach into your pocket. Or, your palm has been holding it all along. A small object, smooth, familiar, carrying something of you in its weight. It could be a stone, a ring, a folded paper, a necklace, a key. Its meaning doesn't come from what it is, but what it holds, memory, hope, a question you've not yet asked. And now, beneath the strawberry moon, you feel the pull, the quiet knowing that this is the night to give it back to the sky. If only for a while. You've heard the phrase before, charging under the full moon. Maybe it sounded like mysticism, maybe like metaphor, but here, now, under this ancient and glowing face, it feels neither strange nor abstract. It feels like alignment, like participation in a rhythm older than fire. Astronomically, moonlight is reflected sunlight. Yes, but the timing of the full moon gives it a unique consistency. The Earth, positioned precisely between the sun and the moon, allows the entire lunar face to shine unobstructed. No waxing, no waning, just presence. That constant wash of light, uninterrupted for hours, becomes a canvas for rituals, personal, spiritual, emotional. You are not asking the moon to change the object. You are asking the moon to witness it. Across cultures, this has always been done. Ancient Egyptians placed sacred items on temple steps during the full moon, believing that the lunar light could cleanse and empower. In Hindu traditions, water and crystals were left outside to absorb Chandra Shakti, moon energy, believed to calm the mind and awaken intuition. In pre-Columbian Mesoamerica, moonlight was used not just in ceremonies, but to purify weapons, charms, even words written in ash. But what does it mean? Truly, to charge something. It is not magic in the fantasy sense. It is attention. It is ritualized focus. You are not giving the object power it did not have. You are activating its meaning. Moonlight becomes the conduit. Your intention becomes the current. You place the object gently on a flat stone, or perhaps in a bowl. You position it beneath open sky. There are no incantations, no required tools. Just this, an open heart and a quiet sky. You step back, not as a gesture of distance, but of respect. The moon will do the rest, and as it bathes the object in that pale, shimmering light, you begin to see something else, not in the sky, but in yourself. What do you need to release? What do you hope will return? What weight have you handed to this object that you are now ready to let go of? Because charging is not just about infusing, it's about transference. You're giving the moon your burden, in symbol, in silence, and the moon, unflinching, will carry it for a while. This ritual can be done with anything: jewelry, written words, dried herbs, tools, even photographs. The act is not about the item, but the relationship, you and the moon, and the thin thread. of meaning that connects you across time and breath. The moon shines indiscriminately, but your offering is deliberate, and that makes it sacred. In some traditions, people gather their moon-charged items at dawn, believing that the return of sunlight seals the ritual, a kind of cosmic exhale. Others leave them for 3 nights, allowing the waxing and waning of light to shape the energy. There is no wrong. There is only alignment with your own knowing. Tonight, the strawberry moon offers a special flavor to this act. Its presence, tied to fruit, to sweetness, to brevity, reminds you that what you charge is not meant to last forever. It is meant to bloom now. The power you call down is ripe, temporary, urgent in its beauty. Use it, wear it, breathe it in, and when the moon wanes, let the object return to rest. You step forward again and hover your hand above the item. You don't need to say anything. The light says it all. The object is warm now, not in temperature, but in memory, in promise, in the silent echo of the moon saying, I saw you. I touched this. It matters. You gather the item back to your chest, but it feels lighter somehow. Or perhaps you do. Something has shifted. Maybe not in the object, maybe only in your gaze, but that's enough. That's everything. You walk back through the grass, the moon still climbing. The ritual is done, though nothing has ended. You have participated. You have offered. You have remembered what it means to give meaning through attention. And you feel the quiet blessing settle into your bones. You are not alone. You are not lost. You are part of the light, even when you don't see it. The silence shifts, not broken, deepened. Out of the stillness, a call rises. Soft, then sharper, curving through the air like smoke from an unseen fire. A night bird. You hear the low hoo of an owl, the quick flutter of unseen wings. Somewhere, farther, a whippoorwill cries its name into the dark. These sounds do not startle, they reassure. You are not the only one awake under this moon. You are not the only watcher. The birds have always known. They do not mark time by clocks, but by the turn of light, the way the moon carves shadows into the ground, the way stars brighten when the sky falls still. Some birds, like nightjars and nighthawks, are lunar navigators, timing their flights and feeding to phases of the moon. Others, like owls, hunt more easily in moonlight, gliding across fields silvered by the lunar glow. But more than behavior, there is a presence in them, a knowledge. As if the creatures of the night are born with an understanding we've long forgotten. You stand still and listen. The world is awake, just differently. No traffic, no talking. Only the subtle rustle of small lives moving beneath leaves, the soft thrum of distant wings. The watchers are here, and they are not all birds. There are always those who keep vigil under the moon. In every culture, in every time, there are people who rise when others sleep. They are the guardians, the dreamers, the mystics, the mourners. Shepherds once moved their flocks under full moons to avoid the dangers of daylight heat. Monks in medieval abbeys woke at moonrise to chant prayers in darkness. Astronomers watched with aching eyes from cold rooftops, sketching the moons, face before cameras ever existed. Witches walked through dew-drenched fields, gathering herbs in silence, speaking only to the moon. You, too, are a watcher now, not by profession, but by presence. The act of observing under moonlight is ancient. It connects you, not just to the sky, to others. Those far away, those long gone, those not yet born. The moon is the shared face we have all whispered to. Emotion stirs. You're not sure if it's sadness or wonder. Maybe both, because in watching, you feel seen. And that surprises you. The moon reflects sunlight. Yes, but in that reflection, something else is returned. Your attention, your longing, your stillness. Science tells us that nocturnal animals rely on moonlight not just for navigation, but for rhythm. The full moon alters behavior, makes them bold, or cautious, or louder than usual. You realize it does the same to you. You feel more awake, more tender, more willing to ask questions without demanding answers. In Native American lore, the owl is not simply a hunter of mice. It is a messenger, a keeper of secrets, sometimes a harbinger of truth or death. In Greek mythology, the owl is sacred to Athena, goddess of wisdom, its eyes wide to the unknown. In Japan, the fukuru is both feared and revered, a symbol of luck, protection, or warning, depending on how it appears. Tonight, you welcome their calls, not as omens, but as reminders. You are not alone in watching. The night is full of eyes, not judging, not waiting, just witnessing, just being with. The strawberry moon pours itself across your shoulders. You sit, or lie down, or fold your knees to your chest, and let the quiet watchers circle you. Moths flicker toward your body, mistaking warmth for moonlight. You don't move, you let them come. This is not your world alone. It never was. You. Think of those who cannot sleep tonight, the ones in distant cities staring at the same moon from high balconies, the ones walking hospital corridors, the ones whispering prayers, the ones mourning, the ones newly in love. The moon touches them all. The night birds sing to them and for a moment, that web of watchers, of wings, of wakefulness, tightens around your heart, not painfully, securely. You belong to something bigger than your solitude. You stay just a little longer. The moon is past its highest point now, but the watchers remain. The owl calls again, this time closer. The wind has stilled. The ritual continues. You are not merely looking up, you are being held. You are being remembered by the creatures that never stop seeing in the dark. The air is thick with moonlight now, not just above you, but around you, inside you, moving through you in waves. You feel it, not on the skin, but deeper, in the way your thoughts slow, in the strange pull in your chest that doesn't ask to be understood. You are not imagining. This, the full moon, especially this one, is not only a sight, it is a force. And tonight, under the strawberry moon, you begin to feel the tides inside you rise. Astronomically, the moon's gravitational pull acts on Earth's oceans, drawing water toward it in a rhythmic swell known as the tidal force, the ocean breeze. With the moon, high tide, low tide, high again. But the moon's influence doesn't end at the shoreline. You, too, are water, more than half your body, composed of liquid, blood, lymph, tears. The tides move in you, quietly but insistently, echoing the same pull that stirs the sea. Studies in chronobiology, the science of internal clocks, have found that human behavior, sleep, and mood fluctuate with the lunar cycle, not always in ways that make headlines, but subtly, consistently. Hospital records rise slightly during full moons. Sleep patterns shift, dreams grow vivid. In the language of science, it's correlation. In the language of ritual, it's alignment. Ancient cultures didn't need labs to feel it. They knew. Midwives timed births to the full moon. Shamans guided dreamers through lunar cycles. Farmers planted and harvested with lunar calendars, not out of superstition, but because they saw how things grew differently depending on the moon's shape. The tides told them when to sow. The moon told them when to rest. And now, it tells you, listen. Inside you is a tide that responds, a pull toward reflection, a soft unraveling of the knots you tied during the day. You feel emotions crest and break, like waves, a sadness you didn't expect, a sudden tenderness, a memory. These are not distractions. They are currents. Let them come. Let them move. You close your eyes and feel your breath settle into a slower rhythm. You are not meditating. You are sensing. You are remembering that you are a creature of cycles, not just work and rest, but forgetting and returning, closing and opening, ebb and flow. In Taoist philosophy, the moon governs the yin, the feminine, the receptive, the reflective. It is the balancing force to the sun's yang, active, bright, pushing forward. Tonight, under this full moon, you lean fully into yin, You are not meant to accomplish. You are meant to feel. You are not solving problems. You are softening into truth. And perhaps that truth is this: you've been trying to hold still what was meant to move. Emotions, relationships, expectations. But water doesn't hold form. It flows, finds its way, returns in cycles, and so do you. In coastal communities across the Pacific, full moon ceremonies are held not to worship the moon itself, but to give thanks for its guidance. Fishermen sing to it. Children sleep with shells by their pillows to listen to the moon's voice through the ocean's memory. In these rituals, the moon is not a destination. It is a companion, a kind of rhythm keeper. Steady through the chaos. You begin to feel the weight you've been carrying, not in your arms, but in the space between your thoughts. And you let it shift. You imagine it dissolving, just a little, like salt in water. You don't need it to vanish. You only need it to move. You press your hand to your chest. The beat is steady, not dramatic, just real. The tide inside you is neither storm nor stillness. It is breath. It is time. It is your body remembering how to be part of the sky. The strawberry moon begins its long arc downward, not retreating, cycling, its light still full, but now touched with the gravity of goodbye. You understand, fullness is not a destination, it's a moment. And then, release. You let your inner tide rise. You let it recede. You let it speak in the language of tears, or silence, or song. Whatever shape it takes, it is yours, you belong to it. And it to you. And in that knowing, you feel whole. The moon hovers now, not yet falling, not quite rising. Suspended? You feel it in your bones, in the stillness that surrounds you like velvet. Time bends under the strawberry moon. Something about June's full moon always carries this sense of transition, as though the sky itself is holding a door ajar. And tonight, you understand why, though many traditions, so many quiet beliefs, have called this moon a gateway. In the northern hemisphere, June marks the threshold of midsummer. The solstice is near, the longest day, the shortest night, when the sun itself stands still in the sky. And across the world, full moons nearest this solar apex are seen as liminal, in between moons, pivot points between what was and what will be. The strawberry moon doesn't just ripen fruit, it ripens time. Astronomically, the moon tonight rides low in the sky because of the Earth's axial tilt. The sun's high path forces its lunar opposite into a deep arc just above the horizon, stretching its course like a bow pulled taut. This elongated journey across the sky makes the moon linger. It gives you time to notice, to cross that invisible threshold. In astrology, not astronomy, but symbol, this moon often aligns with Sagittarius or Capricorn, signs tied to meaning, direction, responsibility. Some say it's a moment to pause and examine your path. Others say it's a portal for dreams to move from inner world to outer. You don't have to believe in zodiac signs to feel this pull. It's something deeper than symbols. It's instinct. In Celtic lore, the June moon was sometimes seen as the gate between the world of the seen and the unseen. When fairies crossed over, when ancestors whispered through the wind. In Andean traditions, the month of Indi Raymi approached, the festival of the sun, and the moon before it was believed to carry messages from past to present. In both, this moon meant crossing, it meant choosing, it meant listening. And here you are, standing in your own threshold, not dramatic, not loud, but real. You sense it in the way your breath slows when you stop trying to name what you're feeling. You hear it in the wind that pauses just before it moves again. A gateway doesn't always look like a door. Sometimes it looks like a question. You feel it pressing against you gently. What will you leave behind tonight? What will you carry forward? The gateway is not built of stone. It is made of stillness, of awareness. You step into it by doing nothing but noticing. The moonlight drapes across your arms, and you feel time stretch, not forward, but inward. You are not rushing toward your future. You are remembering it. Somewhere nearby, a branch cracks softly. Somewhere above, a star pulses. The world holds its breath with you. You are not stepping through this moon alone. All things move through it. Insects born, flowers blooming, old versions of yourself dissolving gently into light. This is the moment to whisper what you've been afraid to want. Not out loud, just enough for the moon to hear. Speak not your goal, but your direction. Not your plan, but your willingness. The moon does not grant, it mirrors. And it opens. You walk a few slow steps forward, not toward anything visible, but through something sensed. You know now. This is not a night of answers, it is a night of thresholds, and the strawberry moon is the gatekeeper, not asking you to be ready, only asking you to be honest. So you pause. You breathe, you say nothing, and that is your crossing. Behind you, what you were. Before you, what you're becoming. Above you, a moon that has seen this transition in 10,000 faces before yours. It glows still. It waits. You have passed through. You don't know what's changed, only that something has. You feel it in the chest, in the solace of your feet, in the silence that no longer feels empty. The strawberry moon begins its slow tilt downward, but its gaze never leaves you. That is its vow. It lights the threshold, but it also walks with you past it. You are not alone. The night deepens, though the moon still glows, now tinged with the faint gold of time passing. It doesn't shine with the fierce insistence of its arrival earlier this evening. No, it softens. Like a candle nearing the end of its wick, the strawberry moon eases into a quieter rhythm, and with it, so do you. This is the hour of ink, of breath, of the written word, not to record, but to remember, not to preserve, but to release. You feel it in your fingertips, the need to write, not on a keyboard, not on a screen, something older, more physical, a notebook, a torn scrap, a page, anything that can hold the marks of your truth under this ancient light. The moon doesn't ask for eloquence, it asks for presence. And so you write. Astronomically, the moon is entering its descent. Soon, it will slip beneath the horizon, chased by the slow curve of the turning earth, but not yet. You have time, enough for words, enough for self. In many traditions, writing under the full moon is a ritual of naming, not for the sake of goals or lists, but for acknowledgement. In Persian mysticism, poems were written by moonlight and left outside windows, offerings to fate. In Haitian Vodou, sacred symbols and invocations were inscribed in chalk or ash, made visible only under moonlight, then wiped away. In the Appalachian Mountains, old healing charms were written by full moons and hidden in drawers for protection or potency. Each culture understood. Moonlight reveals what the sun cannot. Tonight, the act of writing becomes a doorway. You are not capturing a moment, you are stepping into one. Each word is a thread, each sentence, a bridge. You write not to prove, but to witness yourself this night. This particular breath in the long life of the sky. Your hand trembles slightly as you begin. That's not fear, that's honesty. What do you write? Anything, everything, a truth you've avoided, a name you've missed, a sorrow you've buried, a dream you're ready to believe in again. The paper receives it all without judgment. So does the moon. You may choose to write a letter to yourself, to someone you've loved, to a version of you that no longer lives in your reflection. Or be it's a single word repeated over and over until it becomes a spell. Maybe you don't write at all. Maybe you draw. Maybe you press your palm to the page and just breathe. This is not about permanence. In fact, the beauty of it may lie in what you do with it afterward. Some burn their writings, letting the smoke carry their intentions skyward. Others fold the paper and bury it in the soil, feeding the earth with word-rooted energy. Some keep the page in a drawer or under a pillow, a secret kept between ink and starlight. The strawberry moon watches, not as a god, not as a judge, but as a witness. Its light filters over your shoulder, across the curve of your wrist, through the ink as it dries. It holds what you write with a gentleness the day cannot offer. The night does not ask you to be productive, it asks you to be true. You pause, staring at the page. You feel something shift. The words have formed not just meaning, but release. You've carved a path through the fog. You see a little more clearly. Or perhaps you simply feel a little less heavy. This is what moon writing does. It makes space. You don't need to read it again. You don't need to polish or perfect it. It's done, not finished, done. You place the paper beside you. The wind stirs it gently, but doesn't take it. It knows, this belongs to you. The moon sinks lower. Its color deepens, from silver to amber to a subtle pink that echoes the strawberries for which it's named. The light is fading, but the clarity it brought remains. You feel it behind your eyes, in your chest, in the part of you that still believes in ritual. Writing by the light of a dying day is not about finality. It is about honoring the in-between, not what was, not what will be, but what is, right now. This breath, this page, this light. You close your eyes, and the last thing you see is your own handwriting glowing softly in the moon's gaze. It is enough. The moon has begun its descent, pulling the night with it like a tide returning to the deep. Its light, once brilliant and steady, now stretches long across the fields and softens at the edges, a candle burning low, but not yet out. You watch, as it dips closer to the western horizon, brushing the tops of trees, gilding rooftops in fading silver. There is a hush in everything now, not of ending, but of absorption. The strawberry moon is not leaving, it is entering you. This moment, this moonset, is not a conclusion, it is a transformation. Astronomically, the earth turns, and the moon appears to fall, though it continues its path around us, unwavering. You are the one who moves, and in that movement, something shifts. You have spent the night under its watchful glow. You have breathed, remembered, offered, listened, and now, with the moon slowly sliding from view, you feel it. You are not the same. Many ancient traditions held the setting of the full moon as sacred as its rise. In some Hindu practices, moonset was the hour of gratitude, the time to bow inward, to reflect on what had been shown. In the temples of old Mesopotamia, the full moon's departure marked the end of rituals, and the priests would sweep the floors in silence, gathering symbolic remnants of the spirit world. In Celtic lands, Druids believed the final minutes of moonlight held the greatest potency, as if the moon's farewell was a final whisper to those still awake. You are still awake. And the moon sees you. Its light thins now, but it does not vanish. It fades gently, like a teacher stepping back after the lesson has been given. You feel its presence in your breath, in the stillness of the earth beneath your feet, in the silence between each thought. It has passed overhead, and now it passes within. You do not need to follow it. The moon will return. Its cycle is faithful. What matters now is what remains in you when it's gone. What will you carry from this night? What quiet truths will echo in your chest in the days to come? Because the strawberry moon is not an event. It is a becoming, a turning point not marked by spectacle, but by softness, not declared, but felt. Its sweetness lingers, not on the tongue, but in the mind. You remember the still water, the soft fruit, the low arc of its rise, the paper you wrote on, the owl's call, the shadow it revealed. Each moment was a thread. Together, they have woven something inside you that you didn't know was needed. As the last curve of light slips behind the trees, a new kind of glow begins, the edge of dawn, pale, unsure, but inevitable. The sky holds both now, the end and the beginning. The moon says goodbye in one direction, the sun clears its throat in another. You are in between them, luminous from both sides. You are no longer only a watcher. You are part of the rhythm. You feel tired, but not drained. You feel full, but not heavy. The air carries a hush, and you let it wrap around you one last time before the world stirs again. You've done nothing extravagant tonight. No ceremony to grant, no performance for anyone but yourself and the sky. And yet, everything feels changed. That is the gift of this moon. Quiet revolution. The strawberry moon sets, the light fades, but you do not. You rise, slowly, fully, a little more aware, a little more open, a little more in step with the great turning. And somewhere inside you, the moon remains. Asterisk, the moon has gone, but its absence is not empty. It is presence reshaped, not above you, but within you now. You move through the early morning like someone who has been touched by something vast and silent. Not broken, not saved, simply real. You recall the arc of the night, the way the light began soft, then strong, then soft again. You remember the bowl of water, the breath of the wine, the strawberry sweetness, the slow writing beneath silver glow, but more than the details, you carry the rhythm. That is what the moon gave you. Not answers, not direction, but cadence. In this cadence, you feel a truth as old as the sky. Everything moves in cycles. The moon waxes and wanes, and so do you. There will be days when you forget, days when you rush, when the light feels distant. But the moon will return, as will you. The next full moon may not be a strawberry moon. It may be a buck moon, a sturgeon, a hunter's. The name doesn't matter. The rhythm does. This was not a performance, not a show. It was a passage through shadow, memory, sweetness, silence. And now, as you re-enter the world of movement and noise, you do not leave this night behind. You carry it, you wear it, invisible, like a lunar mark on your skin, a quiet knowing that you once stood still under a sky that whispered, "You are not separate. You are part of this. Whatever you charged is still glowing. Whatever you released has been received, and whatever you wrote remains written, not just on paper, but in the breath you draw now, a little slower, a little more awake. The strawberry moon has set, but you remain in orbit, not around a planet, but around your own truth, your own softness, your own luminous center. And when next the moon rises, you will know how to greet it, not with surprise, but with recognition. Until then, keep the sky close, keep the rhythm close, and when the world grows too loud, look up. The moon remembers you.